see who that is.
I'm a victim of a hit-and-run accident. I limp.
No,
I'm
I was just
sorry.
saying you should sit closer to the mic.
And you should have started the meeting on time instead of 20
You're
minutes
off the
late.
subject. Come on, stay on the subject.
You're the one's interrupting me.
No, stay on the subject.
I get heckled here all the time.
No, you're off the subject. Last warning.
Number two, again, these are excellent issues, and you're collecting the money, and that's what you should be doing. Otherwise, you're shit.
Okay, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
We'll do item 17. Mr. Sachs, Arnold Sachs, item 17. Arnold, please come forward.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Arnold Sachs. And this refers to a declaration to vacate relative to Bunker Hill vacation. I'm just wondering, is this involving any kind of a licensed liability corporation somewhere down the highway? Items 21 and 23 refer to initiating a declaration. So will they come back?
Stay on this one.
To vacate. This also refers to the Environmental Equality Act, CEQA. So are those other items on the agenda? Who pays for that CEQA report? Who does that actual funding for the CEQA report for these vacates that are involved here? And a lot of this is involved in land usage, which refers back to, can you say, Porter Ranch and the land use there. It's going to introduce a motion in the Board of Supervisors.
Stay on the subject, Mr. Walsh. Okay, thank you. Let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, item 20, Ms. Pearman and Mr. Walsh. Item 20, please come forward. Item 20, please come forward.
Number 20 shows that we're not safe. Police can't be there to prevent these shootings, and most of us can't afford Secret Service or have personal police, like the City Council gets and our mayor gets protection from various sources. We have to, but most of us have to protect ourselves. That's why we should have the right to carry. They wouldn't shoot if we could shoot back. Let everyone have classes on how to handle firearms, and then these things won't happen. And also, I want to say lastly that I also believe what John Walsh says, that, that these people will come back to us. Snitches get stitches. That's what it is. And so they're just going to come back. So I don't believe that anybody's going to come in on these award things, issues. Nobody will, because they'd rather have their life. Let's be able to carry. Thank you.
Next.
John Walsh at HollywoodHighlands.org. This again is a reward offer. This is an attempt at creating a suicide, because anyone who answers this is going to be snitches get stitches. And there's apprehension, conviction, responsible for the shooting of Thomas Johnson on December 13th, 2015. $50,000. You buy this. Okay, I'm going to add another $1 million to it. $1,050,000. Because in this city, when a gang murders you, that is a never get out of jail, never get in jail card free. This is never going to happen. I don't see his relatives up here. You know, they're really stone members, gangs, when even their relatives don't show up and shed a few tears. Again, these rewards are stupid, ridiculous, and a waste of time. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, don't go far, Mr. Walsh. We're on item 11, Mr. Walsh. Item 11, Mr. Walsh. I believe this is his last minute, followed by Mr. Sachs, followed by Mr. Previn on item 11.
John Walsh, HollywoodHighlands.org. This is another security grant. This one is Homeland Security for $55 million. The idea was to make Southern California terrorist-proof so the Olympics would come here. And then we had San Bernardino. This place is an open invitation to the world's terrorist community. We have the supervisors laying out the map, laying out the welcome mat for terrorists. You want terrorists to show up in L.A., and we'll just treat them as poor Syrian refugees as we get shot down and killed as the 14 people. And one of those 14 people who was murdered was a friend of mine in San Bernardino, a black man.
Mr. Sachs, followed by Mr. Previn.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Arnold Sachs. And it is a grant. It mentions a total of a little over $55 million. But it mentions the partner jurisdictions are going to get 27, almost half the grant. And these partner jurisdictions include 16 cities, the County of Los Angeles, and the Red Cross. What jurisdiction the Red Cross is, as far as these cities is concerned, I'm not sure. But the grant then refers to would leave $27 million left over for the city of L.A. And I'd just be concerned about the city and its budgeting processes on how it spends money, that the $27 million, what it'll be going for and how it'll be used, and the oversight that the city has, especially led by Mayor Spaghetti.
Okay, Mr. Previn.
Yes, it is Eric Previn from CD2, and I will take 1 minute on this one, sir. Item 11, as the gentleman capably introduced, is a grant, and there's some money. The one that caught my attention was item 7, embedded, which is a friendly little reminder to put $373,000 into the general fund, sir. So this is big kind of Homeland Security money, but there's a reason for that. And the reason raises the question, why the general fund and not the fringe fund? Because it is for fringes on some of the law enforcement deployment that would be included in that large grant. I think it was $56 million total or whatever it is. So the question is, why are we migrating $373,000 into the general fund? And this is money to protect us against terrorist attacks, not to float around in the big pond. Thank you.
Okay, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, we're going to go to item 15. Mr. Previn, I think you said 15 you wanted to speak on. Mr. Walsh is out of time, so if I could get Eric Previn and Arnold Sachs. Yes, sir.
Right. It is Eric Previn from CD2, and thank you, sir, for that introduction. Today, item 15 has to do with the great IBM. Some people know this company as Big Blue. This is CopLink Data. They are partnering up with the LAPD, the LASD, and others to help kind of track and run the servers on some of our law enforcement work. This is a great group. They do a lot of business downtown. They have a lobbying arrangement, sir, that has caught my attention at both jurisdictions. So that's why I wanted to bring it up here. My feeling is if they're going to lobby through England or Canobie and Allen, as they do, which is their right, that's the law, and they say let's just make it up because I'm not up on the today numbers, but it's something like $100,000 a year that goes into the lobbyist group for the city. But then over at the county, they're doing the very same thing for the county business. Now, what I think, and I think it's appropriate, is that when a guy looks at the list of who's been doing what kind of business at the city of Los Angeles, if the same guy, which would be, I don't know, Matt Canobie or one of those guys, and IBM are doing a deal for $100,000 over here, we want to know also that he's doing a deal over there. Because then I think it raises the level of impact and influence that he can exert on some of these guys like Buscaino and the guys who are in there in the law enforcement every single day trying to hold the line like Englander. Oh, wait. Oh, right. He's one of the guys who's tied to that group. But look, they don't go to the same meetings as we've read over the years, and that's why this is completely appropriate. The one thing that is a little bit questionable, though, is this whole server thing, because servers and law enforcement can be like the lost leader, the kind of problem story, like with the tasers. We remember, sir, with those cameras, in comes the camera at X $100, but then you get $1,000 a year to run the server. So when you do the math, it looks like it's a little $5-6 million deal, but when you do the real math, it's a $37 million deal. So that's the kind of stuff that gets the public a little irked when we're being sold one kind of bill of goods. And then it goes up even higher because we're bulking up on more of these tasers. And to conclude on taser, because I like those guys, give me one second.
Thank you. So, Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good morning again, Arnold Sachs. And it'd really be interesting to find out something. These two agencies that are listed here, the LAPD and the LASD, the Sheriff's Department, total about 28,000 employees. You had just had an item about a joint task force for security measures for the Long Beach Harbor and LA Harbor, whatever it was. Don't you think it's about time the city and the county both decided to have a joint task force on 28,000 force manpower that would regionalize all the information that is done, saves people the money? It mentions in here, and I love this legalese, migrate the LAPD data from the existing coupling node to the regional terrorism information. Migrate by a hibernating city council. There's an oxymoron.
Thank you. Let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, let's go 18. Mr. Sachs, don't go anywhere. Mr. Previn, I think you have 1 minute. So this is Arnold Sachs and Mr. Previn on item 18.
Yes, thank you again, Arnold Sachs. And, you know, it's just around the corner. Budget time is coming up. You'll be able to gear up for that. So this is another one of those favored budget items. Street furniture revenue that is not included in the city's budget annually. You never find out from any of the council districts or any of the chair of the budget just how much money is generated by street revenue furniture, what exactly street revenue furniture is. The only way you hear about it is on these items on the agenda. And you have all these different envelopes that are passed back and forth and how it's spent. Mr. Weezer spent some of his funds for his office on his staff. You don't hear about that in the council minutes. Why not? If you're so open and transparent and you're doing your budgeting, don't you think the people in the city should have an idea of what's coming in these different envelopes? It's just absolutely amazing that it keeps going on.
All right, Mr. Previn, it's his 1 minute, correct? Okay.
Right. Thank you, sir. It's Eric Previn from CD2, and this obviously is a CD2 item. This is 18, correct? Yeah. So this is good. Good stuff. We got Krikorian O'Farrell are moving to transfer some money to do potholes, large asphalt repair, and tree trimming. How do you say no to that, sir? It's only $150 grand, and we were happy to have the money. The question is, though, where are we going to apply it in CD2? Now, that, of course, is none of your business because you're busy in your own district. But in our district, we do care, and we don't get a real good look at those decision-making because Mr. Krikorian favors a different approach, which is kind of mind your own business, talk to Courtney Hamilton. And Courtney Hamilton runs a different kind of operation, which is talk to the city hall, and here's the number of BOE. Good luck. So I've been down that road, and obviously nothing would prevent me from following instructions. But I am looking closely, sir, at how the CD2 funds, especially the Prop K money, is being deployed, and especially the Real Property Trust Fund money is being deployed, because I care that we have the stuff that the people want. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, I have a card from Mr. Herman on 18. So then we have to vote on reconsideration because his card was in. Yes. So let's hold tight. On that item, let's open the roll. We're on reconsideration. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Go ahead, Mr. Herman.
Mr. Speaker, in this small amount of considerable time of 15 seconds that I wish to hold, I just want to remind you that it is a happy new year, and I am looking forward
Stay on the subject.
to this $150,000 not to be allocated for this fucked up problem of why homelessness is the war in Los Angeles.
Let us vote. Let us open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, Donna Pearman, item 22.
Anyway, it's good. The claimant was giving $25,000 to provide information. It's unlike the one for the city council, and they robbed with $55 million. And so I'm tired of the city council robbing us. I'm glad that this person got paid to stop their robberies. Now I only hope that we can stop our robberies from the taxpayers. Thank you.
All right, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll. I didn't get your card in time. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, now we'll move to item 1. If hopefully you have a card on item 1. Anthony Sanders, Wayne Lee. Is that an Edwin Yee? Yes, sir.
Thank you. My name is Anthony Sanders, sir, and I received a order of compliance, notice of fee, dated June of 2011 for a property at 29th Street. I received a letter in December of 2015 about this particular thing that was related to 2011. The issue is excessive storage, storage and parking. That is not the case at this address, and they're trying to fine me a particular amount of money for this address, which is not.
You know what, Mr. Sanders? Charles, where's Charles?
It's right there.
Charles, wave. Well, anyway, you see him. I don't see him. What I think we're going to do with you, Mr. Sanders, I will continue your item for 2 weeks for right now. In fact, we'll do it for 3 weeks to February 9th. See the gentleman in the vest? Begin chatting with Charles. No, Charles, I don't need you up here. I want you to have a conversation. I want you to have a conversation with Mr. Sanders to see if we can deal with his concerns. So, Mr. Sanders, your item will be back before this body on February 9th.
February 9th.
So there will be no action today. We'll give you enough time to talk that out.
I apologize for being so nervous.
No, you did well. Okay, so if I could have Wayne Lee, and I think it's an Edwin Yee. Wayne Lee. Edwin or a Yee. And I think I have a Divya Sukla, maybe.
Mr. President, while they're coming, others request to continue item 1O to February 2nd.
Okay, without objection, that'll be the order. So if I could have Miss Pearman, please come forward. And again, do we have a Mr. Yee, a Wayne Lee? Wayne Lee? Then you should come to the center.
Can I speak then?
Somebody, sergeants, help Mr. Lee. Yes, Donna.
Okay. It's good to see some of these liens have been paid and posted. And there was a lien that was reduced. That's good. But I still see people who are unfairly charged or have not been notified correctly in a timely fashion. or liens that are too high. So hopefully we can get to this point where these people will be able to pay for these liens or have them forgiven, and so that there won't be such a hardship on the people who don't have that much money and people who live from paycheck to paycheck, and people also who have been charged for somebody else that actually lives on the property. So we need to work this out. We did a good start, that those liens that were paid. So now let's go for the rest of them and let's them all get paid in a fair fashion. Thank you.
Okay, please come forward, sir.
Yeah, my name's Edwin Yee. So I got a tenants move out in August.
Get out of the way so this man can speak, Mr. Spindler. Go right ahead, sir.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my tenant is move out in August. So December, the new guy come in, the new tenant come in. So they're going to still charge me late fee. So maybe you can reduce the fee for me.
What's the address?
4002 West Washington Boulevard.
Okay, I'm going to have continue yours for 2 weeks, and I'll look into yours myself. So 2 weeks, Madam Clerk, would be February 2nd. Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson. If I could have you go in the back, talk with Mr. Lee. Come right over here and speak with the gentleman in the gray suit. Okay.
And just for the record, Mr. President, that item is item 1K.
1K, all right. Mr. Sachs and Mr. Herman. Mr. Sachs, you have 1 minute, I'm informed. So Mr. Herman and Mr. Sachs, please come forward. Mr. Herman, you're there. Come on forward.
Now, we all know that most of these liens are unconstitutional. They violate your rights, and they take out punishment towards the budget. I am opposing all liens as of today. I ask that you table them to the side, as we all know that Mr. Spindler is having a problem in Mr. Bloomfield's area for the conditions of a lien, because someone in Mr. Correz calls us fucking Latinos. And
no, you stay on the subject. Stay on the subject.
It has to do with building and safety. I went there to protest on behalf of this constituent because he has a lien on his property due to over-vegetation. And yet some baboon from building and safety goes there and says, oh, no, you're in violation. So I don't think I am politically incorrect regarding the process of the illegal process of liens. I'm just protesting that I oppose them to the letter of the law, because the city attorney has allowed the violations of our rights to be heard as you interrupt speakers from not finishing
you're off the
up
subject.
their time.
Thank you. Come on, Mr. Sachs. Your time is done, Mr. Herman. Sergeants, he hasn't been here in a while. Refresh his memory on the rules. No, Mr. Herman, you can sit down or you can leave. Mr. Sachs, come on. You're disrupting the meeting. Continue, and I'll ask you to leave. Mr. Sachs, the floor is yours. And they told me, did you guys tell me Mr. Sachs has 1 moment? 1 minute?
1 minute, 1 moment. About the same. Yes, thank you. These liens that you impose on these houses or these residents or whichever, how would you define them? They're not defined as a tax. So I'm thinking they would be defined as a fee that are imposed on these people for various number of reasons. And so I'm thinking, I'm looking at 2 different stories here. One is from September 7th, 2015, and the other is from October 26, 2015. The one in October says, the mayor may use fees for housing goals, linkage fees that they're going to collect, which is really weird because the one in September, it was November 8th. November said that the LA is losing out on fees, linkage fees. So when you start assessing these fees, how the hell do you account for what's going on? That's the question.
Thank you. Okay, let's prepare to vote. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, Mr. Buscaino, item 26. You want to deal with that now?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Calling this item before you, I first want to recognize my partners in putting together this ordinance, Ms. Martinez, Mr. Weezar, that finally puts an end to the issuance of the business tax license to illegal pot shops in the city of LA. And with this council action today, we're creating more transparency in the marketplace by inhibiting fraudulent activity by having these illegal dispensaries in the city of LA. As we know, the people of the city voted in support of Measure D, which banned medical marijuana dispensaries while exempting roughly 100 or so already that were in existence by September of 2007. And the LA Municipal Code to limit taxation of medical marijuana collectives to those that attest to compliance with Prop D. Also adding a subsection to require medical marijuana collectives to attest to compliance with Prop D, and adding a subsection to make posting an invalid business tax license a misdemeanor, and to similarly prohibit any medical marijuana collective from displaying a tax license of a different classification. This effort was, we continue to scratch our heads as we saw after Prop D an increase in pot shops that appeared throughout the city of Los Angeles. For me in my district, on Gaffey, on Avalon Boulevard in Wilmington and San Pedro, we work collectively with the city attorney's office, the LAPD, and they were screaming from the mountaintop saying, how can we continue to have our finance department issue these tax licenses to these illegal businesses? And happy to finally land this plane here in the city of Los Angeles with your support on moving forward on this ordinance so that we stop the issuance of tax licenses to these illegal pot shops in the city of LA. So great work to all. Thank you.
Mr. Harris Dawson.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I just want to rise and give a big shout out and thanks to Councilmember Martinez and Weezar for drilling down on this issue and all the committees that worked on it. This was one of the main issues that came up in almost every neighborhood when we were doing house meetings around the district. On all our main thoroughfares, there's a mix of legal, illegal, and just sort of hijacked storefronts that are being used for medical marijuana sales. And this will give some clarity and some tools to law enforcement as well as residents with regard to managing these businesses.
Okay, let's prepare to vote. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, well, before we move into closed session, I'm going to take up a couple of the general public comment cards. Mr. Baldwin, Omar Baldwin, Donna Pearman, and Arnold Sachs and Jose Martinez. Wait, before you start, Ms. Martinez.
Can I ask that item 26 be sent forthwith, please?
Without objection, that'll be the order. Yes, sir. Mr. Baldwin.
Hello, my name is Omar Baldwin. I'm founder and CEO of Peace Please nonprofit organization. Today, I would just like to, I'm going to introduce myself a little bit first. I'm a founder of a nonprofit. I'm a published author, and I'm a homeless youth. I work with Peace, the Peace and Freedom political party, and I do a lot of other stuff. But today, I just want to read you guys a little bit of writing that I was involved in at the Covenant House homeless shelter, and we put together a collaboration of writers. And me myself, I wrote a little bit. It's titled "We the People." We the people, peace be unto you. Peace is a nation free of currency, a globe where everyone shares resources, ideas, and land. Peace is a government that works 24 hours a day for the people. peace is. Peace is good, peace is nice, peace is cooler than cooler ice, peace is mellow, peace is yellow, peace is younger than brand name Jello, peace is for today, peace hopes for tomorrow, peace please worldwide, let's all holler.
Thank you. So if I could get next, and then I called Arnold. So Arnold, please. No, Ms. Pierman, it's you now. But Mr. Sachs, come on. Because I have to go into closed session.
Reopen Van Nuys video conferencing so Miriam and those in the valley can speak. Vote Republican. Please vote any Republican. Hillary is a lying bitch. Don't vote for her. She lied when it comes to issues of contaminated water in Flint, Michigan. She and the Democrats knew the situation way back in April 2015 and held it back. Hillary lied to families of the hero men in Benghazi. Hillary says the families don't remember correctly. She is dishonoring them. They remember correctly. She deleted important emails about that. I do care about her damn emails. I don't think it's right that the taxpayers pay for Secret Service for past presidents. Let them pay for it. Taxpayers shouldn't pay to have the housing built for Clinton's Secret Service. Hillary, John Kerry, Obama should be tried for war crimes for creating and letting ISIS Daesh flourish after Obama pulled up troops out of Iraq for bringing unvetted Syrians, refugees filled with young Muslim males who are infiltrated with ISIS Daesh. It's radical Muslims who are beheading
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Followed by Mr. Martinez. Is Eric Previn around? Go right ahead, Mr. Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good morning again, Arnold Sachs, and thank you for your largeness of this 1 minute. Porter Ranch is definitely in the news. But what's not been questioned or talked about this Porter Ranch thing are the other facilities. I mean, when it first happened, when this event first occurred, it was written in the newspaper that there's a storage facility in Playa del Rey. Isn't Playa del Rey being considered by the city for all this Silicon Valley transfer stuff with all these high-tech communities? You think they're going to want to move to Playa del Rey knowing there's a gas storage facility there? There was another community named, I think it was in Goleta, but the fourth community wasn't named. And if you were here long enough in L.A., you would remember that there was a methane gas explosion at 3rd and Fairfax. And what happened there? Nothing but the new development that went up there. Big deal. If you moved there, that's your fault. You should have known. And if you didn't know, talk to the government.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Mr. Previn.
Yes, it's Eric Previn in the public comment, and I like Arnold Sachs's new frames. He's wearing new glasses. This is a guy who I've known from the county for a number of years. Mr. Wesson, you are a great leader, we've established, and we need you to take the leadership role here and make it so that when Mr. Sachs appears in front of the public here in Los Angeles and across the country, those who watch Channel 35, which has been pressed into service by tech guru of the council, hashtag Blumenfield's nose. We want to be visible to ordinary residents nationwide. Just because we got the Olympics coming, because we got LAPD doing a great job, we got a lot of stuff happening that we all want to be up on. And sir, you're the one who has the magic touch. We've seen it before. You are the one who can graciously do the right thing, and that's what I'm asking you to do. So that's the nice request, to equalize the way the public views other members of the public. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Previn. Okay, Mr. Barajas left. Okay, let's prepare to go into closed session. You're disrupting the meeting. We're going to prepare to go into closed session. Sergeants, if you would clear the council chambers. When we finish, we'll finish our general public comment.